Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel with the Affirmation. Here every story has a purpose and every lesson is meant to help you grow in a life. So let's dive into a new story that will teach you that our worth is not defined by how others see us, but by how we value ourselves. So let's start the story. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a man named David. David was feeling really lost and troubled in his life. He often thought to himself that what's the point of all this? He felt worthless, like nothing he did mattered. It was a heavy feeling that weighed on him every day. One day, overwhelmed by his despair, David decided he needed help. He had heard stories about a wise man named Gautam Buddha, known for his deep insight and ability to guide people toward understanding themselves. With a glimmer of hope, David set out to find Gautam Buddha, hoping he could help him discover the value of his life. After a long walk, David finally found Gautam Buddha sitting calmly under a large tree. A peaceful aura surrounded him, and people gathered around, listening to his gentle words. David approached, his heart racing with anxiety, his eyes filled with tears, and then he wiped them away and said, "Master, I am really struggling. I don't know what my life is worth. I feel like nobody cares about me. Can you help me understand my value?" Buddha looked at him with compassion and said, "That is a profound question, David. Instead of giving you a direct answer, I want you to complete a task that will help you find your answer." And here, Master handing David a shiny stone and said, "Take this stone to the marketplace and ask people what they think it's worth. But remember, don't sell it, no matter what anyone offers you." David felt a mix of confusion and determination. He nodded and took the stone, feeling its cool surface in his palm. He then set off for the busy marketplace, hoping to discover the truth about the stone and perhaps himself. When David reached the marketplace, it was vibrant with life. Vendors shouted their prices, children laughed and played, and the smell of delicious food filled the air. David spotted a vendor selling samosas and decided to ask him about the stone. "Excuse me," David asked, holding out the stone. "How much do you think this stone will worth?" The food seller glanced at it and shrugged his shoulder and said, "I can give you 4 samosa for it." David felt disheartened. He thought the stone should be worth more than just a few samosas. Thanking the seller, he moved on, hoping for a better offer. And then David approached the vegetable vendor who was arranging fresh produce. And then David showed him the stone and said, "Hello, can you tell me how much this stone is worth?" The vendor looked at the stone and said, "Well, if you give it to me, I can offer you a sack of potatoes." Then David thought to himself, "A sack of potatoes?" He was still unsatisfied. He thanked the vendor and kept searching for someone who could see the stone's true value. As David walked through the marketplace, he spotted a jeweler's stall filled with beautiful gems and sparkling jewelry. He thought this jeweler would surely know the worth of this stone. And then David asked in excitement, "Sir, could you tell me what this stone is worth?" The jeweler took the stone in his hand, examining it closely. His eyes widened with astonishment. "This is not an ordinary stone. This is a priceless diamond. I could offer you 50,000 gold coins for it." David's eyes widened in disbelief and thought, 50,000 gold coins? How could something that seemed so simple be worth so much? But he remembered Buddha's instruction and felt he could not sell it, no matter how tempting that offer was. As David stepped out of the jeweler's shop, he felt a rush of emotion. 50,000 gold coins could change everything. I could live comfortably and never worry again. But he shook his head, reminding himself of the promise he made to Buddha, and decided that he would not sell the stone. no matter how great the temptation. Suddenly, the jeweler rushed after him and said, "Wait, please, I will give you 2 million gold coins for that diamond. I need it. I would give you anything you ask for." David felt his heart race and thought to himself that 2 million gold coins, how could he pass that up? But he had to keep going. Feeling overwhelmed, he hurried away from the marketplace, needing to think. In his search for understanding, David remembered hearing about a wise astrologer nearby. He thought maybe the astrologer would help him make sense of everything. He rushed to find him, anxious to hear more. When he reached the astrologer, he shared the whole story about the samosa seller, the vegetable vendor, and the jeweler's incredible offer, and asked, "Why does everyone see this stone differently?" The astrologer examined the stone carefully, and a look of shock crossed his face. "This is not just any stone, David. This is the rarest ruby in the world, and it is worth far more than what anyone has offered you. Keep it safe and don't tell anyone else what it is." David was shocked. He realized that the stone was far more valuable than he had ever imagined, but he felt a wave of anxiety wash over him. Could he trust himself to protect such a precious treasure? Feeling both relieved and anxious, David rushed back to Buddha, his heart pounding with excitement. When he reached Buddha, he fell to his knees, overwhelmed with gratitude, and said, "Master, I can't thank you enough. You trusted me with such a valuable ruby." Buddha smiled softly and said, "Tell me about your experience, David." David eagerly recounted his journey, explaining how different people value the stone in various ways. When he finished, he looked up at Buddha, his eyes filled with eagerness for understanding. Buddha nodded thoughtfully and said, "Just like that ruby, our lives have infinite value. Our worth is not determined by how others see us, but by how we see ourselves. Some may value you like the samosa seller, while others, like the jeweler, can recognize your true potential." David took a deep breath, feeling a weight lift off his shoulders, and said, "So, my life is valuable, no matter what anyone else thinks." Then Buddha replied in his calm and reassuring voice, "Exactly, you are not defined by the opinions of others. Your worth is intrinsic and you can't measure it. Like that rare ruby, your life is precious and unique." As David listened, he felt a sense of peace wash over him. He realized he did not need the validation of others to feel worthy. His life had value regardless of how others perceive it. As David walked through the marketplace once more, he felt lighter, liberated. He passed by the samosa seller and smiled, not out of bitterness or resentment, but with understanding. He now recognized that everyone's perspective was shaped by their experiences. From that day forward, David embraced his life fully. He understood that, like the rare ruby, he held within him a value that was beyond measure. He would no longer allow the opinions of others to determine his worth. As he journeyed through life, he knew that he was valuable not because of what others said, but because of the light he carried within him. He was determined to cherish his journey and the lesson he learned along the way. This story teaches that our worth is not defined by how others see us, but by how we value ourselves. Just like a priceless gem, some people may not recognize our true value, but that does not change how precious we are. It is important to understand that our life has intrinsic value, no matter how others perceive it. We must believe in our own worth. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoy this video, hit like button, and for more such stories, subscribe to our channel. Thank you and stay positive.